folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this big boy right here, XenoShyft Dreadmire. Now, this is a standalone expansion to XenoShyft, a game that, if you'll remember correctly, Tom and I really did enjoy back when it first came out. It's a little deck builder set in a sci-fi universe where your Nortech militia forces are trying to hold off wave after wave of advancing hordes of alien creatures that are trying to keep you from harvesting resources. Now they really don't care. They're just trying to eat you, generally speaking. And you're just simply trying to survive so that the operation can finish and then you guys can evacuate the planet. So let's get down to the table and take a look. Each person is going to take on the role of a different division in the Nortech forces. For example, this player is the weapons research division. This person over here is the science lab. This person over here is the let's see, what is it? The armory. And these guys over here are the med bay, so the doctors and medics and that type of stuff. And so depending upon the kind of division that you choose to be, you can choose one of the kinds of item cards to be put out there, and then, generally speaking, you can take two of that stack and put it into your deck, which basically makes your deck a little bit more specifically talented than somebody else's. So, for example, this guy being the weapons research guy, he chose to put the Mark III Vulcan into the deck. So he's going to be able to take two of these and add them to his starting deck, which is comprised of 4 Nortech militias and 6 Xenosathams, which is your currency for the game. So he would take all 12 of these cards and shuffle them to make his opening deck. But not only does the division give you a little bit of a setup ability, it also gives you a division discount. You also get a division power. So basically once per round it says one player may equip one yellow gun card from their discard pile as if it were an instant. So that's a pretty cool ability that anybody on the table can use at any point, as long as it's only once per round. Since there are 4 players in the game, our base starts with 60 hit points. The game is split up into 3 different waves, which you have weak monsters, stronger monsters, and then, oh my goodness, where are these people coming from kind of monsters here. And each wave will have 3 different rounds in it, denoted by the markers over here. Now, each round is split up into a number of different phases. The first phase is your draw phase, where you draw your starting hand of 6 cards. Then, and that can be done simultaneously by everybody, and then you're able to look at the cards that you have in your hand. For example, I have, I've got 2 guns and 1 militia, and then I also have 3 currency as well. After your draw phase, you go to your purchase phase, where you talk about what you're going to purchase and plan with your other people, the other players in the game, what they're going to buy, and try to coordinate as best as you possibly can. Okay, so on my turn, I have $3 that I can spend. So I can use $3 and purchase some things over here, keeping in mind my discount, or I can purchase a couple of troops. Now, if I purchase from this board over here, I have to remember that I'm going to stay within my specific wave. So in wave 1, I can only purchase one of these 2, either a research officer or a ranger. But once we get into wave 2, then I can purchase rangers, research officers, combat snipers, demolitionists, assault commanders, and so forth and so on. And then in future waves, these can actually be used to diminish the cost of these guys, and so forth and so on. So if you purchase over here, you have to stay within the wave, but anything over here is available to you at any given point in time. So I'm going to spend $2 and buy a ranger, and then I've got $1 extra here. You want to be able to share this with other people, but you can't. These resources are for your use only. You can't give them to anybody else. So if I can't use that, I'm going to go ahead and discard it, because I don't have any discounts that will allow me to purchase anything for 1. So at the end of the purchase phase, and again, everybody is doing that simultaneously, then we go to the Nortech deployment phase, which is where we're going to place our guys out on the board in the order that you want them to fight. So I'm going to take a Ranger and I'm going to equip, that's what that little symbol there means, equip him with a Mark II Vulcan Gatling gun. And since he can take a little bit more of a beating than everybody else, we're going to go ahead and put him in front line. And then the militia will also be given a Mark III Vulcan, and he will be put in position 2. Now, in the enemy deployment phase, each player is going to be dealt in round 1 3 of these cards from the top of the deck. So one will be placed here, another one here, and another one here. So in round 1, 3 are placed out. In round 2 of wave 1, 4 are going to be placed out. And then at the beginning of round 3, some of these boss cards, 2 of them exactly, are going to be added to the encounter deck, and then 2 cards are taken out, and then the rest of the encounter deck is shuffled. So we don't know exactly where these bosses will fall, but 2 bosses will be randomly added in to the 3rd round of each wave. Now, once the enemy deployment phase is finished, then we go to the combat phase. And the combat phase is going to be where these forces are going to clash, and hopefully these guys will defeat more of these guys than these guys defeat those guys. And so the first phase of the first part of the combat phase is the reveal and react. So the first enemy is revealed here, and if he has any kind of reveal ability, that's carried out before anything else. So this says deal 2 damage to the last troop in this lane. Normally, this cannot be prevented for any reason whatsoever, except that the Mark III Vulcan here has a special ability where it says once per round prevent all damage done to all other troops in this lane by an enemy ability. This is a reveal ability, so this Ranger can use the special ability of his Mark III Vulcan to negate that combat that's done here. Now, you also see here that this person has Fog. Now, what is that? Well, that's another ability of the Brood, and this is another differentiation of Dreadmire from the regular game of XenoShyft. Every round, there is a weather deck, and a weather card is flipped over. For example, right now it says night. If this card were fog, then this is another ability that this monster would be able to put into effect. But since it is night, this doesn't actually happen. We are now in a react phase where all the other players can also help defeat this guy if possible. Now, if you'll remember, the last card that I had in my hand was this XenoShyft, which doesn't do any good in combat, which is why I went ahead and discarded it. But if I had some cards in my hand, like maybe that have this symbol in it, the little pink lightning bolt, that means it's an instant, and I'd be able to use this, and if other people had it in their hand, they would be able to use it to help me defeat anything in this deck. Now, you have to be judicious about how you use these, because this might be the weakest bad guy in this lineup. As we continue to go on to the fight phase, where these 2 guys are actually going to deal damage against them. So this guy does 2 damage to this guy, and this guy does 3 damage plus 2 because of his Vulcan to this guy. I could, if I wanted to, use the ability of this Mark III to diminish the damage that was dealt to him, which I am going to do. So I use this Mark III, again, once per round. Now I'm using this Mark III, again, only once per round, to negate the damage that's being dealt to him. So his damage doesn't hurt him, but his does hurt him. This guy is dead and discarded. And then these guys move in, and we start another reveal phase. So we reveal. If this enemy ever suffers damage that doesn't kill it, immediately discard it and deal the base 3 damage. Well, here's the thing. He's going to do at this point, we would have another react ability where everybody could have the chance to defeat this for me. If it doesn't, then we would go ahead and fight. So he has 3 hit points, but I'm doing 5 damage to him. He's doing 1 damage to me, which puts a damage token on me, but I do 5 to it and kill it outright. And then this guy comes in, and it's a plague crawler. If this enemy kills a troop, heal that troop to full and place it at the end of the enemy lane, discarding any equipment. It becomes an enemy. This guy is going to do 5 damage to it. This person is going to do 3 damage to this guy, which does kill him, which equipment would go to my discard pile, but he would be healed to full damage and come over here. This guy is destroyed, and now this comes in and this comes in. 3 damage to 1 health, 4 damage to 2 health. These mutually kill, and the turn is over. That combat round is done. If there is ever a enemy left and there are no troops in the Nortec spaces, then that enemy is going to deal damage to the base equal to its power. But before he does that, another react phase is where everybody has the chance to play cards out of their hand, instance, to defeat this guy before he deals damage. But if nobody defeats them, then he would deal 1 damage to the base like so. And then after this is done, we would go in turn to the next person and the next person and the next person. Once all the players in the game have worked out their combat phase, then we move on to the next round. And we do the same thing again, going with the draw phase, purchase phase, deploy, enemy deploy, combat, resolution, all that kind of stuff. And we simply continue doing that until either the base loses all of its hit points and that we lose, or we get all the way through to wave 3, past all the wave 3 bosses, and we win. So that was XenoShyft Dreadmire. It doesn't play a whole lot differently than its predecessor, or just regular old XenoShyft, but it does throw in a little bit of a couple of wrenches that really make it that much more difficult. The weather deck was an amazing addition to the game. It really provided, I guess you could say, a little bit more of a storyline, maybe. You know, not only are you just there on this planet, it's raining, like torrential monsoon type rain, or it's dense fog, or it's just nighttime. That's creepy enough on a foreign planet, right? But not only that, some of those weather cards are multiples. It's at nighttime and it's monsoon. It is fog night and monsoon. There's a lot of different combinations that are in there. Only 16 cards, mind you, but now that's cool in and of itself. But the fact that the alien creatures that are attacking you can use those weather conditions to provide stronger attacks, better abilities. Oh my goodness! In wave 1, you're sweating bullets. You know, in the original in the original XenoShyft, we would usually get to about round 3 before we really started to sweat. You are already sweating pretty hard in wave 2. I'm not kidding you at all. Now, to date, I've only played this with new players, and usually with new players, you get your butt handed to you fairly soundly by the aliens. And that was no difference in this one. As a matter of fact, it ramped up a little bit. I like, one of the things I liked in the original game is how you can help other people with those react abilities. I like the divisions where you are different than your other people playing the game, or love those kinds of things where games give you your own special ability that only you can do in a certain way that only you can help out. Love that. So it really plays just like you're used to XenoShyft playing, but the screws have been tightened, so to speak. And I also like, this is a new thing with Dreadmire. The monsters are not added into the wave deck until the 3rd round of the wave, and that's really cool because there were a couple times in that first iteration of XenoShyft where that boss monster hit you right there in the 1st round or the 2nd round of that wave, and man, you're just not ready for it yet. But the bosses don't come until a third round of the wave this in Dreadmire. And that's a very cool addition. Kudos for that. So all in all, this, my opinion of XenoShyft has not changed at all. However, I will say that if you thought the original game was too difficult, you probably want to stay away from Dreadmire, because this is more harder, yes, that's great English, isn't it, than the original one. So if you thought XenoShyft was too hard, you're going to think this is off the charts, more than likely. But I really did enjoy it. I didn't think that the original XenoShyft was too hard. It was hard, but it was still fun. It struck that balance between difficulty and fun level that was just a sweet spot for me. I liked the sci-fi theme of the game. I liked how all of the different people could help each other. There's just a lot of different things going on here, and all of them I really enjoy. Not a huge fan of deck building, but this is a very cool implementation of that mechanic. So I'm going to say that I'm going to give 2 thumbs way up on XenoShyft Dreadmire. I think it's a great next step from XenoShyft, and if you like XenoShyft, this should be really a no-brainer. So go try before you buy, as I always say, but hey, we'll see you guys on the flip side.